Welcome to Organizing Life's Daily Demands. My name is Peter Gordon. I am a daily money manager. We help people pay their bills, file insurance claims, do budgets. We do all the non-investment side of personal finance. Then we like to say we help them organize life's daily demands. And the purpose of this video, audio, and web and podcast is to introduce you to other professionals who help people organize their lives, daily demands, and their specific professions. And this morning, I'm thrilled to have Brian Dusseau, who's with Compass New York Real Estate, as our guest. And welcome, Brian. How you doing today?
Thanks for having me, Peter. It's good to be here.
Yeah, my pleasure. Actually, I'm going to take us right from the top. I know Brian through this amazing networking group I'm part of, and he's one of 60 professionals, and a lot of videos are coming up with the members of this group. And that being said, Brian, tell us a little bit about, not so much right now what you do, but what got you to this point of doing what you do.
Well, I've been in real estate now for 24 years, so it's the longest career I've had. It's been real good to me and good to my family. But before real estate, I was an internet entrepreneur, and we started the first digital music database, and we were sort of the answer to Napster. It was called Click Radio. Yep. And I had built a 40,000 song music database, and the founders had digital download rights from all 5 major record labels. And we had launched stations. We invented the thumbs up and the thumbs down button, and the skip button. And then the crash of 2000 sort of ran us over. And the people that bought our company out of receivership, they ended up suing Pandora over the rights to use the thumbs up and thumbs down button because we had the patents for it.
Wow.
But then I was like, I didn't have a job. I cashed out my 401k. I was living on my savings and hustling pool to pay some bills. And my pool buddy said,
hustling pool?
Yeah. I was doing some pool hustling, anything to survive. And my buddy said to me, "You need a job." So they got me into real estate. They said, "You can stay independent, you can work for yourself." And I had fractured my foot that summer of 2002 when I got started. I didn't realize it, and I ended up showing 1,000 apartments for rent over that summer. I'm walking on that broken foot, and it still clicks funny to this day. But that's how I got started in real estate.
That's great. That's great. And so what's your expertise? You have a certain expertise in the world of real estate?
Well, I've worked in Manhattan, Brooklyn, and Queens, but my seat in the B&I group is the King of Queens, because I lived and worked in Long Island City for 20 years, and I still work there today. And this is one of the buildings I do business in, and this is actually an apartment I sold not too long ago.
Yeah, that's very cool. Yeah, and so that's Long Island City, correct?
Yep, this is Long Island City. This is the view from Long Island City. You get $1 million views for less than $1 million.
Yes. And so let's talk about Queens. What makes your market, Queens, unique compared to the rest of New York City right now?
That's a great question. What I love about Queens, especially Northwestern Queens, is its affordability. As I just said, that you could get this apartment, this view, for less than $1 million, where the same unit across in Manhattan is going to be $2 or $3 million easily.
And you're going to see Queens, not Manhattan.
Yeah, and you're going to see Queens instead of looking at Manhattan. In addition to that, in Northwestern Queens, you've got affordability. You've got location. It's easy to get in and out of Manhattan for work. So I say work in Manhattan, Queens for life. You can come live out here, enjoy all these vibrant neighborhoods. It's easy to get to Manhattan. It's easy to get to Long Island. It's easy to get over to Brooklyn. So you're really centrally located. And, when you come out here, your shoulders just kind of drop after being in the city all day. working hard. And you just get to relax and enjoy almost all the same amenities you get there, but at a much better cost.
You're speaking to the converted. I lived in Manhattan for 25 years, and then we moved to Queens. And that example of having your shoulders drop, that was phenomenal, because that's really, you get to come out of Manhattan, and that's nothing against Manhattan. I love living there, and I love going back. But
I love the energy and vibrancy in Manhattan, but sometimes it can be overwhelming. And coming out to Queens, you can still enjoy Manhattan, but you just get to relax.
and people love the diversity as well, which is remarkable.
Queens is the
Now,
most diverse of all the boroughs.
yeah, and one of and part of in the world, there are neighborhoods that are the most diverse in the world.
Mm-hmm.
It's a great place to go for food. So, what do you see? What do you see right now in the market that most buyers and sellers are just misunderstanding?
Well, I think buyers and sellers are pretty savvy, especially in New York City. They're spending a lot of money, and they're very careful with it and careful with what they do. But what are the things that they maybe don't know or they maybe overlook that a local area expert is really going to help them with? Um, for example, people may not know Wall Street is on sale right now. I'm working on a deal there where they were asking 1.3 million. We're offering close to $1 million, and we're probably going to. And they're still negotiating with us. They didn't tell us just forget about it. Murray Hill, you can get some great bargains. And as we all know from our friend Mark Friedman, if he was an Upper West Side expert, there's no inventory on the Upper West Side. And then in Queens,
Or in Westchester, where we know from another colleague, they're bidding things up constantly.
That's right. And even in Queens, we're starting to see some bidding wars because people are recognizing the affordability that some of them are getting priced out of Brooklyn, priced out of Manhattan, and they're moving here. And depending on the property, you got to know a good agent knows where you can get the bargains and your money's going to go furthest. And they also know when to advise you that you've got to go above the ask if you want to win the bid.
I think it's real important to what you're saying. Really, is you need a professional. You don't need a professional. There's a huge benefit to having a professional,
Mhm.
and no matter what you do, and certainly, I mean, real estate is a tricky
Well,
area.
it's the largest financial transaction in your life. I mean, would you go into court without an attorney?
Right? Exactly.
If you're going to be spending several million dollars or saving several million dollars, would you work without a financial advisor?
They know exactly.
You know, and the real estate professional is going to know the small nuances of the market, and they're going to be able to either save you or make you much more money on your transaction, whether they're on the buying or the selling side. And that's where the value comes in. If they can't do that, then get a better realtor.
Right. Exactly. Um, you know, you talked about how you got into real estate, but can you talk
Mhm.
about some experience that shaped the way you work with clients today?
Yeah, my father always taught me growing up that I've got two ears and one mouth, and I should use them in proportion. And as a salespeople, we forget that. We forget that it's not about us. It's
Absolutely.
about our clients. And if we're not listening to them and understanding what their needs are, we don't know that any of the solutions that we're proposing are even going to work for them. So we first have to take the time to sit back and understand what's motivating them, what their expectations are, what their concerns and disappointments are. And once we understand that, we'll know how to apply our tools and our expertise to solve their problems. But if you don't at first take the time to listen and ask the right questions, you're going to miss the mark. And people are going to feel like you're just trying to sell them something. instead of trying to solve for what they need.
You know, it's interesting. I love that expression. And we talked about the Sandler sales training prior to this on
Yeah.
Tuesday. And that's exactly that. People hate salespeople and because they only talk about themselves, but it's so important to listen. And that's what a good professional does. Can you share with us?
If you don't ask the question, you don't find what the pain point is.
Right,
So you don't know how to solve for that and help them.
right. And what we do is not necessary for everyone, and there might not be a good fit, and you want to figure that out.
Well,
And
that's a
then,
good point too, because I may not be the right agent for you, and you may need something that I'm not going to be able to provide. And so we're only through that dialogue can we find out if we're the right person to work with. I mean, I'm sure it's the same in your business.
absolutely. I think it's the same in almost every business, really.
Mhm.
You know, and it's that communication and that listening for, as you said, the pain points.
And as
You
we
know,
learn in BNI, you got to know, like, and trust them. So if I'm taking this time to understand you, you're going to get to know me better. You're going to start to like me. You're going to hopefully be willing to trust me with could be the largest financial transaction in your life.
yeah, no, and trust is critical. And what better way to establish trust than listening? It's pretty straightforward. Can you share a recent client story that demonstrate the kinds of results you deliver and through your listening and your selling
Sure.
capabilities?
I guess a couple of recent examples, and it just tells you the difference in each market is different, each listing is different, and you need a local expert that understands that market in order to get the best out of it. At Compass, we a lot of times we've been promoting private exclusives lately. And I don't know if you've seen the controversy in the news about them. Zillow is fighting about us having private exclusives. People are going back and forth about it. But let me tell you some of the benefit of it that benefited my clients.
Great. That's great.
What we did most recently in Sunnyside in Queens, there was a 2-bedroom, 2-bath, and a co-op, and those don't come up often. Most in Sunnyside are 2-bedroom, 1-baths.
One bet. Yeah.
This was a much bigger apartment than most. It had the extra bathroom, and there wasn't a lot of things to compare it to. And that's really important. When you're trying to decide the price, you want to see what's sold, what's currently on the market. And if you've got no comparables, you've got to go with your instincts and your experience. And this is where the private exclusive came in. We were able to test a price for a week or so, get feedback from some of the local brokers, from some buyers before we went to market. We could have gotten an offer then, we didn't, but it gave me the sense that we were definitely on the right track for this pricing point, that there was and we started to build excitement over that 2
Yeah.
weeks. So when we finally came to market, we had an open house, and I think only 6 people at the first open house. We got 5 offers on
Wow.
this property. Every one of them was at or above ask, and it ended up going for $100,000 over the asking price. Now, that's not going to happen in every transaction you do, but that's one instance where I knew we had something special. We went aggressive on the price, and then we overshot the mark. And if we didn't hold it back for a little while and build that excitement up and then test that pricing, we could have missed it entirely.
Right.
My client's
And
very
without the exclusive, you couldn't do that.
That's right. And without them willing to, test it out privately first. And it was another instance where I had one in Manhattan, which was an estate sale, and it was not in great shape. But once we cleaned it up, we painted it. We had our friend Daniel stage it and decorate the whole thing. I was ready to come in at just over $1 million for this apartment. And then after all of that work was done, I said, well, let's test it on the private market at $100,000 above this price, because the staging was so good and it just cleaned up so well that it ended up going at the asking price. And I made my client, again, an extra $100,000. So the little bit of that he spent for the staging was well worth. He got a 10x return on it. So if people trust you, they're willing to take your advice, and then you can benefit them with your expertise in getting them a better deal.
Right. It starts with listening.
Yeah. Yeah.
So if somebody's thinking about buying or selling in the next 6 to 12 months, what should they be doing right now?
If you're thinking about buying or selling in the next 6 to 12 months, I guess this is going to sound self-serving, but you should be calling a realtor. Don't think that you're wasting the person's time. Don't think that, it's too soon. Our job is to help you understand the market now, where we think it's going, and whether this is a good decision for you in the next 6 to 12 months, balancing what you want and you tell us your needs are, and what the market is telling us is available. And in New York City, even if you were to start today, and you find a property and we're able to successfully negotiate something for you, and we go to contract in a co-op or condo, you may not be going and closing on that property for another 3 months, 6 months. It could be even 6 months in some co-ops.
Yeah.
So you want to get started early. You want to start exploring and testing, and you want to find a local area expert. And maybe you need to interview a couple of brokers to find the right one that is a fit for you, because you're going to create a relationship that's going to last over that amount of time, and beyond, for when you're ready to sell that property, if the person does their job right.
Right. That's great advice. And I have some family members who I've been giving that advice to, and they don't want to take it. I don't understand it.
Look, you're not wasting somebody's time.
They,
It's not a waste of my time to take a phone call and to talk to somebody and give them some free advice. We don't get paid until the deal is done. So
right.
we're invested in, helping you get there and get the
And
best.
right. And every conversation can get you somewhere, or not. At least and you could start moving
Look,
along.
I've
Long-term
told people
investment.
this doesn't sound like it's the right time for you.
Right. It's great.
You should really save another 5 or 10%. You should really, you're going to be stretched. It's going to be hard for you to find what you want right now. Or this is not the right market for you. You should be looking over here.
Yeah. Yeah.
If Long Island City is not the right place, maybe you should be looking in Sunnyside or Jackson Heights, if we're talking about Queens.
Sure.
And only through talking to a professional who understands the market are they going to help focus you where you can get what you want in your budget.
It's great. Well, thank you, Brian. That was informative, as I expected to be, and this was really great information. What's the best way for people to get in touch with you?
Well, thanks for having me today, Peter. I didn't know what to expect, and this was a lot of fun. I hope we can do it again sometime.
Sure.
So if people want to find me, you can look me up on the internet, Brian Dusseau at Compass, New York Real Estate. That's probably the easiest way to find me. I'll come up right on Google. You can also reach me by phone, 917-596-3139, or brian.dusseau@compass.com.
That's great. And that information will be below the video and also on whatever podcast channel you're in. That information will be there. So thanks again, Brian. I really appreciate it. And I look forward to seeing everybody at my next video. Take care.
Bye, everybody. Thanks again.